Hi there, I'm Jennifer Angel. This is my overview report for the week of May the 23rd. It's a big week too. There's a lot happening this week. So this weekend that's just passed is pretty heavy duty with the full moon, Mercury coming out of retrograde, and an opposition between the Sun and Mars. So I don't know about you, but I really felt the energy building. So, I mean, I was born on a full moon and moon in Cancer, so the full moon really affects me. I feel the energy quite, intensely, as I'm sure a lot of you did as well. So we're still at the start of this week as Mercury, in that Mercury storm part of the transit, as it just comes out of its retrograde move. You get that on the turn 2-3 days, technically a week before, but I like to think like the 2-3 days before is when I really sort of look at trying to bring things down, lock things down, and just be a little more aware of what's going on around you. Don't take any chances, don't run any red lights, or even try to beat a light to walk across the road, a pedestrian road. It's not a great time to get out and be doing things. It's a good time to huddle with friends and to plan and research. You want to leave any major decisions until mid next week if you can, longer if possible, but mid next week. There are a couple of other things happening this week, so let's go through that. So that was like right on the 22nd, 23rd, Mercury coming out of that retrograde transit. Venus is going to move this week, right at the start of the week, into the next sign, into Gemini. Okay, so leaving one of the signs that it rules, Taurus, and into Gemini. So things become a little more light-hearted, which is nice just after this full moon and after that opposition between the Sun and Mars, just to get a bit more lightness in the chart. Of course, the Sun is now also in Gemini. So Sun moved in here last week on the Friday, the 19th. I had to think of the date then. So happy birthday, Geminis, and for those that have got their birthday, in this first week. Then midweek we're going to have an opposition between Mars and Venus. Okay, so this can always be a little bit sort of tricky. We had that opposition between the Sun and Mars, and now it's Mars and Venus. So Mars is like the trigger. You get like a spark of intense energy with this. It can be passionate, so it's not all bad. It can be great, but you want to remember that the two sides of Mars is it can either be assertive and positive and motivating, or it can be sort of angry, reactive, impulsive, and aggressive rather than assertive. So you want to make sure that you stay on the right side of the yin and yang of Mars. Okay, just something to remember. Then later in the week, we've got that square between Saturn and Jupiter. Now, these are conflicting energies, opposite energies. Jupiter is very expansive and open and positive and going ahead and looking to the future. Saturn can dwell on the past and is more limiting and more cautious. So, in one sense, these two are fighting each other. But in another sense, it does help to bring things down into reality, okay? Because Jupiter can get a little bit sort of high expectations on life, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like to have high expectations because I think if you start high, if you have to compromise, then you're compromising from a high point. But sometimes if it's unrealistically high, then this connection between Saturn and Jupiter helps to balance the scales out, okay? So try to, work with that this week. And then right at the end of the week, Mars is going to re-enter on its backward retrograde journey. Re-enter Scorpio. Scorpio is one of the signs that rules. It's a original ruler of Scorpio. Scorpio now comes under Pluto, but still Mars is the co-ruler. So it's a very passionate energy here. There is some level of frustration with the retrograde. So it's, for this week, you want to see things how they really are rather than how you want them to be. But it's a week of sort of reckoning, I think, of coming to terms with things, with the intenseness of the Mars energy, and in the wake of the full moon, and we've got the Mars and Venus. It sort of like heightens your emotions. Not a bad thing. So when you really feel strongly about something, that's when you can make a decision about it. But as I mentioned at the start, I would leave the major decision making anyway to at least midweek. Give Mercury a chance to settle down a little bit, okay? All right, so love and luck to you. Thanks so much for watching. I'm sorry I got this out a little later this week. It's been one of those weeks. I'll go ahead now and do your individual star signs. Okay, bye.